Yes, guys, Robert Optimal Robert Optimal Carnivore. Now, we did a video yesterday about carnivorous way of eating, that I think we are carnivores. That's our optimal human diet. So today we're going to do 5 reasons why I believe that to be true. Number 1, we're going to look at our physiology. So our gut pH, the acidity of our stomach is around 1.5, which is on par with other scavengers like hyenas and wolves, which makes sense. So it's believed that we started off as scavengers, so bigger, more predatorial animals would take down a kill, and they could leave 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds of meat on that kill. They just eat till they're full, and we'd come along, take the scraps. As scavengers, take that and go from there. So they need the pH of the stomach to be very acidic because there could be bacteria on that. We probably ate it raw before fire. So that acidity of the stomach is designed to kill all the bacteria, to break down that protein. Number 2 reason that points to a carnivorous way of eating in our evolution, the optimal human diet, looking at stable isotopes, which what that means is they've looked at old fossil records of bones and they look at the nitrogen-15 content of these bones. Basically, it's just a way of seeing what a species ate. So it points towards, so nitrogen is what makes up amino acids make protein. So they can tell by this nitrogen-15 content that we had a very meat-centric diet. We ate a lot of animal products, are getting a lot of protein, not so many plants. Number 3 is to look at the rest of our digestive system. We've looked at the stomach. The next is the small intestine that goes into large intestine. As human beings, we have a long small intestine, which gives us loads of room. I think it's about like 25 meters in length, your small intestine. Loads of room, loads of surface area to digest all these animal products, the essential amino acids, the essential fatty acids, highly absorbed in the small intestine. Whereas our large intestine is actually short. So it's quite confusing, but so the large intestine, so say something like a gorilla, they have a really, really large intestine, which is basically like a massive big fermentation vat where they have bacteria that breaks down all their vegetation, and it actually turns it into short chain fatty acids, and then the bacteria die off as protein. So even a gorilla eating like 60 pounds of leaves a day is actually on a high fat and protein diet. They're just getting it in a very, very inefficient way. Whereas we don't have that length in our large intestine. It's more of just like our waste pipe. That's why we have this like little appendix left. It's an vesidual organ left over that we don't use anymore, because we've evolved over millions and millions of years, pointing to the fact that we don't eat tons of vegetation anymore. We've got a very highly efficient way of breaking down animal tissue in the small intestine, and we don't have that massive large intestine anymore, or the appendix anymore, which links us nicely into number 4, why I think we are a carnivorous species. We lack the enzyme cellulase. So cellulase breaks down cellulose, which is like the plant walls. So it's this indigestible plant matter for humans. That is why it just comes out the other end. And as I touched on, we don't have these specialized gut bacteria to break down the plant matter, to turn it into short chain fatty acids, to get amino acids. We just go straight for the flesh, missing out all that. Looking like we're not herbivorous, more carnivorous. We obviously have the ability to be omnivores. I'm not saying we're 100% carnivores. There's a term called facultative carnivore. So there's obligative carnivore, like say like a cat. They have to be carnivore. That's what it means. If they eat anything outside of that, they can get ill, sick, die potentially. A facultative carnivore, which I think as humans are, means we thrive best on a carnivorous diet. Obviously, there's seasonal fruits that we might have had a couple of weeks in the year, whether they were sweet or not, that's for another video. We have the ability to survive on sort of plant food and fruit that might have been around, or nuts that might have been around, or tubers, but only a small percent of the year. If you look at that as survival food and carnivorous as a thriving food. Number 5, if we weren't meant to be carnivorous, which obviously means a high fat, saturated fat, cholesterol, we could do videos about that, but if our body wasn't set up physiologically and evolved to digest these high amounts of fat, why would we have 5 organs working in concert to digest, assimilate, process and have that fat in our bodies? It would be a massive waste of resources and energy. And look, our body is a very, very efficient. We don't want to waste energy. So we have the stomach to start off with. Obviously, we've said very acidic to break down the food, especially the proteins and the fats. And then we've got the liver, which makes bile. We've got the gallbladder, which stores the bile and secretes it when we need it. We've got the pancreas, which has lipase enzymes to break down the fat. And then eventually we've got the small intestine, which is where all the food is absorbed. So it looks like we've gone through a lot of trouble to be able to digest fat, assimilate fat, use fat in our bodies. Maybe it's got a role in the human body. So I hope you enjoyed this, guys. This was 5 reasons why I think we're veered towards a carnivorous approach, that I think we thrive on a carnivorous approach. We do have the ability to be omnivores. I don't think it's necessary. I think we're more facultative carnivores. We're not obligate carnivores. We don't have to be. Obviously, look, people survive on different diets. But if you want to try and thrive, try give carnivore a try. Have you tried it for more than 2 weeks? Give it 90 days. You won't look back.